So welcome guys, this is episode 3 of the Striking While Chatting podcast, and we have with us our permanent guest, which is Coach Neoh, and I'm Coach Charlie here. So welcome back guys, and today we wanted to talk about our all-time favorite balls,
Yeah.
or like our top 6 or top 5. I think the number doesn't really matter. We're just gonna talk
Yeah.
about our all-time
Those are our
favorite
top
balls.
balls.
Yeah,
Top
top
favorite
balls
balls.
of all time. It's like yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, I wanted to mention that one of my all-time favorite balls was my Storm Twist, which unfortunately I cannot find images of it, so I can't show it on screen because it was like a black reactive ball, and the engraving on it was like green orange. But I think most likely it was an OEM ball, which is like what we say when the balls are actually manufactured not in the States but in like Japan or Korea, and then sold to Asia regions and elsewhere. Mostly it's sold to Asia regions because obviously they are made in Asia. It's cheaper for them to ship to Asia. So I probably got my spinner ball is probably an OEM ball, so I can't find images of it. Yeah, which is unfortunate. So that's one of my choice. So earlier we talked earlier. So this is our second time recording this. So earlier, Coach Neoh mentioned that one of his all-time favorite balls is the Altered Reality, which I will bring it on screen on my side, but I will not do any Discord sharing because we just found in the first recording that Discord sharing actually screws up the mic volume on the Coach Neo's side, which like it makes me unable to hear. So yeah.
Muted out.
Correct. So the audience will see it on my screen because since I'm recording on my PC, so I'll put up the stats for Altered Reality here. So yeah, talk again. Why is this your favorite ball? What makes it that you like it so much?
I think for one, this ball, the color wise, it's beautiful. Red, gray,
silver,
black,
gray,
silver.
black.
Yeah. So it's quite a hot color though for a guy. And so then definitely the way it rolls down the lane because of the bigger core, and then so we were talking about the RG. So for this ball, so I'm rolling a 15-pounder, so that is 249.
2.49. Yep.
Yeah. So it's on it's a low RG high differential ball. So this gives it gives me the assurance that this ball will hook.
Low 2.49 is not really low RG, right? It's like medium.
For most low RG will be considered 250 and below will be low RG.
Really?
Then
250 and below.
253 in between 250 to 253, that will be like the mid RG. Then those high RG balls will be like 2.54 and above.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So 2.5 to 2.53 is considered mid RG.
Yeah. So I have a Hustle here. A Hustle, the Hustle USA that I have down here, it's 253. So this I would call it like a mid.
So you consider mid
almost
RG.
to a high. Yeah.
Yeah, mid to high. So anything that's 254 and above, then is considered high RG.
Yeah. I've got a topical search here on the corner here. It's a 258. So that will be a high RG.
So that will be a high RG ball. I see. So earlier, I wanted the audience to understand that what we mean by like big core or smaller core, because this is also something that I didn't really understand until today. So basically, big core means that usually it is a little bit on the slightly higher RG side, but doesn't mean that it has to be symmetrical, right? Because in Altered Reality case, it's actually a big core, but it's an ASIM, which also then
the core size, we think about it like a bicycle wheel. So we have the 29-inch bicycle wheels, which takes a longer time to stabilize and to roll.
Yeah, true.
Versus a small BMX bicycle with like a 24-inch wheels. So it takes very little effort to cycle off to pick up the speed immediately.
Yeah. So it's like a kid's bike versus like one of those racer bikes. Yeah, the racer bikes, you can see them struggling to start. The rim size, because the bigger wheel, so harder to get it to start.
Effort.
Yeah, so same thing for a bigger core, so it makes it like slightly harder for it to stabilize and get into a roll. So it goes slightly longer down the lane.
Yeah. Then it will go, by the time it stabilizes, then after that it still retains all the energy, and then it punches it. So you still, and then it depends on the differential at the back. So like a ball like the Altered Reality, the Jam, and a couple other balls like even the Gravity Evolve and all those. All these will have a relatively higher differential, a lower RG. So that's where it's strong, rolling, and yeah. So that's
So
why
so
that
big
this is.
so big core doesn't necessarily dictate its RG, right? Like it can be
Yeah,
big core
not
but
ideal.
small RG. Does
Yeah,
does big core mean higher differential or not really?
not really.
Also not really lah. So
Mm.
the advantage of just a bigger core is just that it starts up a little bit later than compared to a ball with a smaller core.
Yeah, so a bigger core, like the biggest or flattest core, I would call it like the polyester balls.
Mm.
Yes, but then the thing is, those are because it's pure symmetrical. So whichever way that is you throw it, it will just go in that direction. It retains the energy. It doesn't. But the thing is, because there's no like real extra core of the different shapes inside, so
Mm.
that's why when it goes into the pockets, it's not so strong.
So like polyester balls themselves inside is actually not really like a metal core, right? Is it the whole thing inside is just an inner core? Because
It's
there's
just
like
a flat one. Yeah,
a flat because there's
yeah,
like
flat.
the metallic
Yeah,
core and then there's an inner core material, right? And then there's
yeah,
finally the outer cover stock. So
yeah.
like a polyester
So
ball, does it only just have inner core or is there still a metal piece inside?
no more. It's just a basic feeling.
Or just the inner core filling one?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I
Like
was think
it's
I
more like
suspect also.
a pancake lah, a flat pancake. That's all
Mm.
flat things flat inside. But like we have small cores like the high road, the one that everyone that's
Yeah,
been
yeah.
going on whatever. Yeah. So high road is a two-piece core. But it's a really small core. So those
Mm.
are one of those balls that is going down in the history as one of the favorites, the goat balls. Even like now, then there is the phase two. Yeah,
Phase
but
two.
yeah, all these are balls are the balls with a little relatively smaller core, but it's working really well though. And like now, the most recent one, the top of the town is the phase five.
Oh, yeah. Hyrule does
That
have a very small core. Yeah.
yeah, the inverted FE core.
I was going to say actually, High Road will be one of my favorite balls of all time.
Yeah.
Even though I personally never threw a High Road myself, but just
Ah.
from seeing like one of my students has a High Road,
Mm,
handed down secondhand High Road, and I've
yeah.
seen High Roads being used by Belmo. I've seen it on the lanes by other bowlers. Yeah, the ball motion is I would like yeah, I would consider it one of my favorite balls if I ever threw this ball myself. So I would put this ball in my list even though I never threw it. Because it has
Yeah.
the ball motion that I really like. Very controllable, yeah,
Yeah.
very
And
benchmarky,
I've
yeah.
had High Road, the OG, the original hybrid one, the High
Yeah,
Road
yeah.
Max, and quite a couple other high roads. It's really good. But the thing about it is extremely high RG. It's a
That's
257.
true. 257, correct, yeah.
So when it's so big, it stabilizes so fast. So that's why it's such a beautiful ball.
But it's actually quite interesting. It's a small core ball, but yet it's
Mm,
high RG. Yeah, just because of
yeah,
it's a symmetric the design of the core and
yeah,
maybe the cover stock also lah. The hybrid
yeah,
cover stock makes it go
yeah.
longer.
As if you compare that ball to, for example, the Phase Two,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So Phase Two will be considered a low RG ball. I think it's 248 if you based on 15-pound ball. So
Okay, let's take a
that's
look.
quite an interesting ball, which like the Storm they did a poll a couple months back and they found so like Phase Two going down as the ultimate favorite of for everyone,
Oh, okay.
or at
I've
least that's what the voters gave lah.
the they did a vote lah on their is it their
Yeah,
website or what?
it was on in their Storm website, Storm
Ah,
Facebook.
oh, it's their
Yeah,
Facebook. Okay, so the Facebook users voted Phase Two as their all-time favorite.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm not. So as in I understand why like the Phase Two is a staple in a lot of people's bowling the arsenal because of the lower RG.
2.48.
But
Okay,
then
from what I
yeah,
see. Yeah.
if you look at it this way, 248 is actually even higher, lower than the altered reality.
Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, in a sense, so this ball would be, rolling even later than that.
It rose earlier, right? Because lower RG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It will take a longer time to stabilize before then after that it will hook up. So it's
No, what? Lower RG means it stabilize faster, but right?
lower RG stabilizes later.
No, it stabilize faster, so it means it hooks early, it rolls earlier, no? Because when you say stabilize, means it gets into a roll earlier, ma, right? Because it's like when it doesn't stabilize, means it will hook
Ah,
turn later, because then it skids further down the lane. So that's why it's higher RG stabilize later. So when you say stabilize earlier, means it's
yeah,
lower
okay.
RG lah.
Okay. So if
Yeah.
we can call it that way, yeah.
I mean, yeah, lah, that's my understanding of it. Because 2.4, let's say 2.49, means that because stabilizing makes it hook what? Because when, let's say we
Yeah.
throw, the core is like spinning around like this. So when you
Yeah.
stabilize, it will become like this.
Yeah.
So become like
So
this, then it goes into a roll, and
low
then that's when
RG,
you change in
yeah.
motion.
Low RG will rev up earlier.
Correct.
So in a sense it will roll
Yes.
roll earlier.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So like it's quite an interesting thing lah, because all these balls nowadays it's equipped with such big numbers and unique numbers. So it's like, for example, hybrid high road versus the phase 2, both are symmetrical balls,
Yep. Yep.
but yet both are with totally opposite numbers, but yet people are loving both and then keeping both as a staple, this and that.
Yeah, because
Then
you
yeah,
need to have different balls, ma. You cannot have
yeah,
everything the
definitely.
same, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So then what's the next other ball that you?
So I picked the Storm Twist, and then I
Oh,
picked the High Road.
okay.
You picked your second ball? So the first one you picked Outer Reality.
Oh yeah. So then the second one, I think I will definitely go with my trusty Rubicon UC3.
Rubicon C3. Okay, it's a
Yeah.
roto grip ball, right?
Yeah, it's the roto grip ball. It's in
UC3.
your Discord.
Oh, in
I
your Discord.
sent out to it.
Okay, I
Yeah.
found it already. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
Rubicon UC3.
A
Okay.
pearl urethane cover stock, which doesn't, and this
Polyurethane.
ball doesn't behave like a urethane ball.
Mm-hmm.
It rolls.
Pearl.
It's a pearl cover stock, but it rolls like a solid ball.
Mm,
It's so beautiful, such a good ball. So like if we look at the numbers of it, right? Like since I'm also looking at numbers today, so then
Yep.
ball 248, 249
Yep. Yep.
RG,
Yep.
and even higher differential than the phase 2.
Oh.
So it's even stronger.
Oh.
On the back end is way even stronger than the phase 2. So that's why it's like wow.
Yeah, so it's a urethane ball that is stronger than a
Stronger than
reactive
most
ball.
reactive balls.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really really strong. Yeah.
Yeah. And then that metallic silver color, wow, it's pretty nice. Imagine you have that on a car.
Oh yeah, that's true. It looks like carbon fiber color.
Yeah. It's very interesting ball, mid high flare potential, and it's asymmetrical. So because most urethane
Hmm.
balls are symmetrical,
Yeah, yeah, correct.
yeah, but like this one is asymmetric.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
So
what's the ball motion like?
it's I would say it's comparable with my altered reality.
Oh, so the ball motion is like a reactive ball, lah.
It's completely like a reactive ball. So anyone that has bowled with me with this, they will know that, because the thing is altered reality and the UC3, they both share the same numbers, the same RG, the same
Hmm.
differential, and they are
Hmm.
both symmetrical, asym, and they
Asim,
are
yeah.
both pole. Yeah. So
Okay.
most days, if you wouldn't see me with these two balls in
Together
the same
lah. Yeah.
together.
The
Yeah.
same ball motion.
Yeah.
But what kind of
So
situation would make you want to use that UC3 urethane instead of like your altered reality reactive.
Oh, that's a very interesting one. I use my UC3 more in leaks.
Why?
Uh, when I want to be a bit more selfish to carve the line for myself, I will use that.
Carve the line. But doesn't
Yeah.
urethane like push the oil from the front to the mid lanes?
Um,
Will
that will be yeah.
your urethane still strip oil from the lane? Because it still
It
flares,
no,
right? So it's
I
still
would I reckon this ball works almost the same as a reactive ball.
yeah, because of the flaring lah, because of the
Mm.
like the high
Yeah,
differential, it still flares and all that. So it
yeah.
still takes
Even
away
the cover
oil.
stop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just like a reactive ball.
yeah. It sucks up the oil. So when I do
Mm.
the monthly detoxing of the ball, it's the same.
Oh,
And
you will
and the
absorb ah?
ball, yeah, it absorbs.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's very interesting ball. Like as compared to my other urethane or my symmetrical urethane balls,
Mm-hmm.
is different. Yeah.
Mm.
Every single ball will absorb oil. It's just like a lot or lesser.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like for my pure urethane balls, I don't think they absorb much at all. The oil just stays there for a long time.
Yeah. But then it will because every ball has pores, so it would
Yep.
get clogged in those pores. It's just how deep it goes.
How deep it goes, how fast it absorbs lah. Depends on
Yeah.
how porous it is. Yeah.
Mm, yeah. What about you?
Talking about
The ball.
urethane balls, one of my favorite is actually pitch black. Yeah, my pitch black is
Ah.
actually one of my favorite. It's my first two-handed ball because when I transitioned to two-handed about a long time, like 6 7 years ago, um, I started with house ball, so I practiced with house ball. Then I wanted to. Did I get any hand downs? Maybe I got some. Did I get any hand me downs? Probably not yet. So I decided like to buy my first ball for two-handed, and I went ahead and I went to Apple shop, which is U Bowling, yeah,
Mm,
outside Planet Bowl for anyone who's not sure,
yeah.
which is the Tenserson Civil Service Club. Yep. So
Yeah.
outside along the street. So big shout out lah to U Bowling. It sells very cheap bowling supplies and stuff. He's always able to keep his prices like that. One of the most competitive in Singapore. So I bought it from Apple and yeah, got it drilled by him. And it was a 14 pound because that time I just started to end. I wanted to go a little bit lighter. And it was really good. Like it served me really well. I actually kept that ball for uh al- al- almost until recently. Until so it was like I kept the ball for a good 5 6 years at least. And even though right the core, I knew later like after I bought with the ball for 1 year, I think I told Coach Neoh before the ball core is actually defective because
Yeah.
when it hits the pins right, there's a bit of a clunk sound instead of the normal sound when you have a bowling ball hit the pins, the solid strike right. Then you will
Yeah.
hear the clunk sound before the pins start flying. So it still strikes. So even though the core was defective, right, which later I went back to Apo and I asked him about it many years later, lah. It's like maybe third year or fourth year after I bought the ball. Just happened that I went back to the shop and I talked to him. Then he said that yeah, so that batch that I bought because I was one of the early maybe I bought the pitch black very early. Pitch blacks back then were known to have defective cores where they had this issue whereby I think maybe the inner core was loose or either the metallic core didn't bond very well to the inner core. Either way, either the inner core didn't bond to the cover stock or the metallic core didn't bond to the inner core. One of the things, then it created a gap in between, which has that clunking sound whenever the ball hits a very solid object like pins and
Ah.
stuff. Yeah, but it still strikes. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, still strikes, ma. So okay, still goes down the lane, still strikes. Then I still use it, lor. Then I remember like very early, I went to a fun bowl. Then one of the fun bowl bowlers was telling me, "Hey, your ball spoiled already because I hear the sound. You hit the pin got that clang sound. Means the
Yeah.
ball got problem." And then I was like, okay, lor, never mind. Then
You
I
can get
still
that.
use yeah.
Yeah, you get that in the house balls, polyester balls.
Oh.
Some of the house balls they have that sound.
Yeah.
Then when you
Yeah.
put your fingers in those conventional grips and you can actually shake it a bit.
Okay. So that's a sign of actually having a loose core, loose inner core, most likely. Because when you
Yeah.
shake it, means because it's not truly. I mean, but and then again, house balls don't have like metallic core. Like you mentioned,
Yeah.
it's just the inner feeling core.
Yeah. So then your third choice and my third choice is almost the same.
Mm.
we are both in the pitch family.
Fast
Just that
pitch.
mine is the fast pitch.
Ah,
Yeah. So these two balls, right? Like it's quite amazing because after the
still
pitch
look at
black,
fast pitch.
they
Yeah.
they actually came out with the pitch purple.
Yep.
Then after that, then fast pitch came out. So the thing is, the fast pitch is supposedly the one that bridge between the pitch black and pitch purple. So
Yeah.
pitch black rose slightly earlier than the fast pitch. Yeah, fast pitch goes down the lane even longer. Is I think it's one of the balls that has the highest RG. It's 261.
Yes, it's 261.
Yeah. So like this ball goes down way longer than a pitch black, but because of the higher differential, so it comes back stronger than a pitch black. Yeah.
Yeah, 0.03, right?
0.03 versus
Pitch.
0.22.
Oh, yeah, pitch share is 0.22.
Yeah, 0.022 versus 0.02. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that differential gives the back end. So it's pretty interesting. So like, because I've had all three of them, fast pitch black, pitch purple, fast pitch. Then yeah, wow, amazing.
This just yeah. Sometimes like pure urethanes, even though I don't know, like some people don't like them because
Yeah.
they don't know how to transition off it. I guess, especially if they
Yes.
don't use urethane a lot themselves and they have their opponents or their teammates use urethane, then they will feel like
Yeah.
very weird when they throw their reactive ball. It's like sometimes
Yeah.
their reactive ball doesn't come back.
Yeah.
So a lot of bowlers actually don't like urethane because of what it does to the transition. But for people who are okay with throwing it, right, you'll find
Yeah.
that pure urethanes actually are really, really good because I like my pitch shot because it's so predictable. Like I can throw
Yeah.
the same line or the same launch
Yeah.
angle on like different alleys.
Yeah.
Because different alleys all still use house oil, but so it's still like 40-ish feet. It's not like longer than probably no
Yeah.
longer than 45 lah, like 40 to 44, I guess. Most house oils should be right 40 to 44. It doesn't go shorter than 40, doesn't go longer than
Uh,
45.
yeah. Planet Ball it was 35. Then they
Planet
went
Ball
to
35.
37. Then now it's 39.
But Planet Ball always feels longer. Like a lot of people tell me Planet Ball
They,
feels longer.
no, because the front has a lot more oil.
Ah, okay, okay.
It's like a swimming pool in front, and at the back is totally dry.
Okay, okay. So it's 30 plus, but because of the front oil, people always feel
It carries
the ball
down a
goes
lot.
longer. Yeah.
Any kind of ball that you throw, it will carry the oil down because it's a pool in front. No matter what, you're gonna
Oh.
spread the oil down.
Yeah, so no matter what, you're gonna feel that kind of urethane as
Yes.
we call it carry down lah, whereby
Yeah.
suddenly your ball don't hook anymore because the oil gets pushed down.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that is also Planet Ball is also one of the places where I like to use pure urethane, which is like my pitch
Yeah.
black. Now I use like after my pitch black, I went to 15 pound. Then I cannot find a pitch black. I bought a hammer black, but it still doesn't feel the same as my
Yeah.
pitch black. Like the hammer black, even though like in theory everything, the stats, everything, feels very very similar, but the pitch black just gives me like slightly better ball motion. It's hard to describe. It's like when you use it, it's just more predictable. It strikes more.
Yes. So that's one key thing about that ball, though. If I can find, I'm trying to find one of the ball. Is my Fame U.
Oh yeah, I heard of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Fame
I
U.
yeah.
Fame
It's
U bowling is what brand is it? Bowling.
it's a Roto Grip brand. I was told
Oh.
it's the first urethane asymmetrical urethane ball.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I think one of my friends had it. He hated it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I initially I didn't understand how to use this ball, so I was struggling. But then after putting in some effort to understand this ball, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's
Now
not on the
I
Storm
love-
website though, so I have to find it elsewhere.
I found it in
Found
the high spot though. Yeah, it's in our Discord.
Okay.
So this ball has a
Ah.
2.5 250 RG, and it's quite interesting. 0.052 is a very high differential.
Oh, I can't find. So from the website, how do I find the stats?
Then there is
Oh,
a Storming and a Ren Yang.
oh, okay, okay. It's in
Yeah.
I mean
It's in
the
Japanese.
yeah, mine is in Japanese lah. So it's
Yeah.
in the picture lah, correct? I see RG
Yeah.
2.5.
Yeah.
The I think it says RG difference is 0.052. I assume
Yeah.
he means
That's the
differential lah.
differential.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And then the
differential.
intermediate diff is 0.016.
0.16. Actually, I'm
Yeah.
not really familiar with the term in intermediate diff. It's only for asymmetrical balls, right? That means the difference between like maybe one side of the core to the other.
It's offhand I can't exactly explain that, but yeah. Like it determines the strength of the PSA.
Okay.
So the higher the intermediate diff, the faster the spin time of the PSA.
So does it mean that it hooks earlier, turns
It
earlier, rolls earlier?
Yeah, the overall hook
Is earlier lah. So the higher intermediate diff, that means it will like roll earlier compared to
the
a ball
stronger the
with
ball.
yeah, the
Yeah,
stronger the ball.
it's just playing between the Y and Z axis.
Okay, okay. Roughly,
Yeah.
I mean, roughly, I understand. So it just means that the higher it is, you just maybe like more snappy lah in a way.
Yeah, so that is just a indicator of like how strong the ball will be. So when you have a low RG ball and a
Okay.
very high differential ball, so
Uh-huh.
so low RG, high differential, so then your intermediate diff will most of the time be big, be high. And so when you see that is a high differential, high intermediate diff ball, you know that okay, this ball is going to be strong.
Because it's low RG and high differential. Yeah, so it rolls early and it snaps hard also.
The transition will be faster. So
Yep.
the skip, hook, roll, it will be very fast, very strong.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's one key thing. So like for example, the FAMU that we were looking at, it's 0.016.
Yes.
Yeah, but for Alter Reality, it's 0.018.
Okay.
Yeah. So or even like the Rubicon UC3 is 0.011.
0.011. So
Yeah.
the lower
So it's
number
really
means
slow.
that it snaps harder.
No,
More aggressive.
the transition is a bit slower, slightly slower.
Oh, so lower number means transition a bit low. Lower as in the 0.011 lah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
if it's higher, 0.019 or 0.016, yeah. So like for the Alter Reality, 0.018. So that's where it's stronger.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So if we can even look at the most recent ball, which is the like Nova or Supernova. Those balls will show you their numbers.
Supernova.
Yeah. Yes. So like Supernova, one of the balls that is like the talk of the town where most people are, trying to get their hands on it.
Oh, just
Mhm.
wait, the launch date is tomorrow. Not
Yeah,
even
but
launched yet.
then quite a number of people are using it already.
Yeah.
So the stats is the same as the Alter Reality, but the PSA, the intermediate diff is even higher. It's one notch higher, 0.019. So it's even stronger than the Alter Reality. Yeah, so that's why you see that a lot of the pros, they are all saying that, oh my god, that they love this ball. It's giving you all those things that they need. But once it hits their transition and stuff like that, you see the ball goes into the ball back.
Sideway, because the ball would just be too strong, right?
Yeah,
The
it gets
reaction
way
is too
too
violent. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why when like you have to step down into something weaker, or even I would say even a symmetrical ball might be too strong. It depends on how the transition goes.
Oh, because you mean this this ball might strip the oil too much lah.
Mm,
I
yeah.
see, because
So
of
then,
the cover
then when
stock.
you have no more oil on the lanes, even no matter what you're going to use, like a symmetrical ball, it's still going to roll because it hits the dry, and
Yeah, yeah.
that's part of the dry. Yeah.
So because I mean, so now we're talking about transition, right? Because
Mm,
the thing is, since this is an asim ball, like the supernova
mhm,
lah, so I'm talking about
mm,
supernova, it's an asim
yeah.
ball with solid reactive cover stock. So
Yes.
again, the solid reactive cover stock of, since it's 2000 grade, it really takes oil off the lane. But because it's asim and it flares a lot, right? So flares means it like you create more flare rings. So
Yeah.
for like the viewers, what we mean by that is like, if you're a hook bowler, you throw the ball down, then when your ball come back to the ball rack, you will see like a number of oil rings. So the
Yeah.
more the oil ring fans out, right, it means it has
Yeah.
more. The ball has
Flare
flared
full
more.
potential.
Yeah. So the more it flares, obviously, the more oil you strip off the lane, because
Initially, no, if you put the flare lines back together, it will still be the same. Just
uh
that the thickness of it.
yeah, yeah, correct. But
Yeah.
what I mean is that, because for example, right, if I use my pitch black, it is a very low flaring ball. So I
Yes.
throw it down, the oil, right, the oil ring will be like just one or two lines. It doesn't flare a lot. So it not
Mm.
because if
Yeah.
the line, right, that it rolls over already has oil. So
Yeah.
when it rolls over the same oil ring again, it doesn't take more oil. But when I
Yes.
feel like the higher flaring balls, why it takes more oil? Because every time the ball rolls, it's on like a fresh surface. So since it's
Yes.
on a fresh surface, and the fresh surface will take away more and more oil every time. So I
Yes.
feel like higher flaring ball, like you mentioned, the supernova, it just takes oil more,
Yeah.
solid reactive cover stock and higher flaring ball, so it strips oil faster from the line as
Yes.
compared to a lower flaring
So,
ball.
yeah. This is one of the key reasons why people dislike urethane. Some of the urethanes, or actually, if you look at it this way, is the I would, in my opinion, it will be those balls with a lower flare potential will push down the oil.
Yes, correct.
So it's not exactly a urethane ball, but it can
Yes,
be like
any low flare.
some other balls. Yeah,
Plastic ball
low
lor.
flare ball.
So I
Plastic. Yeah.
remember, yeah, I remember one of my league friends in fun bowl. He said he hated it when he bowled with one of the in fun bowl. It was a casual bowler that uses plastic ball, straight bowler lah. They use plastic
Mm,
ball. So he hated it. He said the guy just spray because it's inconsistent. Then he spray carry down oil all the way. Then he don't know how to bowl. Things like that. Then I was like,
yeah.
okay, lord, then too bad, lor. Because that guy is a regular, ma. He always comes to that fun bowl every month. So you
Yeah.
kena him, then too bad lah. If you don't know how to transition, that's your fault lah.
Yeah. So that's why I would say the only ball that I have that is on a lower side will be my fast pitch, and then definitely my tropical surge.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are lower
But these
flaring balls
two
for
are
sure.
still considered in the mid flare zone though. Even like the pitch black is a mid flare.
Yeah, it still flares a bit. Yeah, just that not so much lah.
Not yeah.
Because the
So
differential is quite not quite differential is quite low lah compared to your fast pitch.
and my so like I talking about one ball all the way. So just on Tuesday on my league, I was using the Fame U one ball and it stayed all the way. I didn't really have to use my reactive ball. I brought my pure physics,
Hmm.
and then so I was just jumping between a pure physics, which is a strong asymmetric ball, and my pure physics, which is the weaker one. Which then I found that the pure physics was working way better because it's a foursome. So there's so many balls going down the lane. If you bring a whole one full arsenal, then you're just going to have to transit out the balls every half game.
Yeah. Talking
So
about lane transition, I wanted to talk to you about like one of the because I bought in our trios league like 2 weeks ago, the Tuesday.
yeah,
So yeah, he was wondering about the scores. Like one of our friends, Gisali, was quite not say quite lost lah, because he we'll talk about that later lah. So it's like I'll talk about my strategy for that later. So talking about ball, so one of your choice is the Fame U, right? Okay, one of my favorite balls. I don't know whether I can find it. I want to find it's a DV8 ball.
DPA.
Yeah,
Yeah.
DV8 bowling ball. One of the low end ones, but because I didn't do research on it beforehand. Don't know whether I can find it. Go to the
What's the
website.
name of it?
Uh, that's why I needed to
Ah,
remember.
okay.
I can't really remember. I remember it's a low end ball.
Radical
No, deviate, not radical.
PPA.
Yep. So
Healthcare.
okay, I
Is
think
it a retired ball?
yeah, I'm looking through the retired ones. So definitely
Oh,
retired ball is a very old ball. Let me look through
mm.
the retired list on the website.
There's all the Hellraisers.
Yeah, it's I think in that era, in the in the vendor era. Let me search
And
through
it could be the
Diva, yeah, in that era, Diva, Grudge, lower end than those. Hmm.
I think there was a period where everyone was going for a nightmare.
Nightmare is one of their high end balls, I think. Yeah, I couldn't use any
Like
of
that's
the
you're referring to a lower end one, right?
Nightmare is I think quite mid high end, right?
Mm.
Do
Yeah.
Diva,
Yeah,
Pearl.
but there was a period because all the DB8 balls back then it was very colorful. So a lot of people were going for it.
Yeah, I found it. I
Especially the
found it.
Misfit,
Misfit, yes, one of my favorite balls is the Misfit.
the orange and blue.
Did I have the Misfit Pearl or
Yeah.
did I have another? I think I had the original Misfit, not the Pearl. My Misfit was a reddish color one.
Greenish.
Was it the
That was
orange blue? Yeah, there's a few colors. I think mine is the Misfit orange blue, maybe, because it looks. I remember it was like orangey red. But anyway, yeah, the Misfit is one of my all-time favorite balls. It was, I don't know, my second or third two-handed ball. And that time I think I liked the Misfit Pearl because
mm,
I I actually wanted to go for I wanted to buy a Misfit Pearl, but I think it either the shop that I bought it from, I forgot where I bought it from. Either the shop didn't have it, or something. Then I went for the next best choice, which was the Misfit Solid. But I
uh
actually really like I like the color of the Misfit Pearl, like the pure yellow
yeah,
one.
yeah.
I think I liked it even back it was a spinner though, even though I didn't manage to get the ball as a spinner. Because I just like the color of it and I like that it is like very um it goes very long. So I'm
Yeah.
looking at the stats for Misfit Pearl is a 2.54 RG. So as you mentioned, mid high, right? It's going on the high end, high RG ball, and a
Yeah.
differential of 0.032. So it's not very snappy. Goes long, not very snappy, which was perfect for me with lower ball speed. So I wanted that Misfit Pearl, couldn't get it. Then I got the Misfit Solid, which was a RG of 2.51, which is medium to slightly high. Differential actually is slightly higher at 0.04, but it's just something that is very controllable. So I liked it a lot because it's very controllable. I could play like outside if the lanes were longer. I could play like 5-5, sometimes up with it. If the lanes were really long, then if the lanes were not as long, then I could play like probably 10-5 or like maybe like 7-5 if I was like that accurate on that day. I could send it like really out, send it like close to the gutter, and then it starts to come back. And yeah, so I somehow that ball is very very versatile. So I really like that ball. One of my
Yeah.
favorites. In the end, I used it so much. I think I didn't detox it. So because back then I didn't know about detox. I manually detox my balls like the hair dryer method, right? Or that like,
Yeah.
but I didn't like bring it to like a pro shop to detox. So I like probably didn't do a very good job, or I didn't clean it very often and so on. So over time, the ball eventually died. Like it didn't hook at all. I always use ball until like I throw it down and like, oh, the ball doesn't hook. It just keeps going. And like I know that okay lah. So the ball to me has died. Eventually, I gave it away to like a friend who wanted wanted a ball to like try different drilling. So I just gave it for free because it was technically a deep ball to me, but it was yeah, one of my favorite balls. Smith Sid.
Yeah. Wow. So with that, I think the last or like the ultimate must have ball to bring around, I think it will be my tropical surge.
Another low end ball. Yeah,
Yeah.
actually one of these days, maybe my next ball I should buy a Tropical Surge. Because
Yeah.
for me, I really like my low end balls. Because low end balls for me, since I have slower ball speed, it just gives me more options. I can play more to the right, stay more to the right. I don't need to go so deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So,
don't know. I find like Tropical Surge, for example, the ones that I have is the hybrid one. So there's only two hybrid ones. So I have one of it, and it's very interesting because when you see the Pearl ones, the Pearl Tropical Surge, it goes a bit longer, I would say,
what's the
than
color of the hybrid one? I'm trying to find it on the website.
uh, Black Copper.
Black copper.
Yeah, in your Discord.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Send it to
Yeah.
me. Let me check.
So it's very interesting because
Okay.
initially I even thought that the Tropical Surge being a entry level beginner ball,
Hmm.
it will be a very very high, extremely high RG, but in the end it's only at 2.58.
Yeah. So it's
So
like
it's not as not as bad as I thought.
you were saying the high starts from 2.54 to 2.6 plus, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
2.6, I think if it's 2.6 and above, I think that I would consider that as
High.
extremely
Yeah.
high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
And this ball is
not as high
2.58.
lah. Yeah. It's on the
Yeah.
low, like on the low end of the high side lah, so to say.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
kind of confusing.
Yeah. So I like my kakis and my buddies, we were actually talking about forming a team Tropical Surge
Oh,
or
really?
team
They
Surge.
also got tropical surge.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of guys that we all bowl with a Tropical Surge. So it can be a
Oh.
ball that we start even on the fresh, we can use this
Mm-hmm.
ball all the way down to the burn.
Yeah, true.
It is a ball but like that means you'll be playing from outside. You're gonna start outside and then you're gonna move
Yes.
in. So it's a ball that you can stay that long unless you are as good as Nom Duke. Even a gem on his hand, he can play first to the last game. He can adjust that
Yeah,
well.
his versatility is legendary lah. So it's not everybody can be like as versatile as Nomdu.
That's why we use a wicker ball to make up for it.
Yeah. We just don't
Yeah,
have that versatility of our hand. If we were to change our hand, our consistency just goes away.
yeah. I know. That's why he's amazing.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, I agree. Tropical Switch may be one of the balls that I'm definitely like if I were to buy a brand new ball, yeah, this is actually one of the balls that I would look at.
Yeah, I'm thinking of getting another Tropical Surge.
So
Because
this is
it's way
the
cheaper.
hybrid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the other one you want to get a pearl?
I might get a Pearl Tropical Surge.
Yeah, that means a pearl to complement the hybrid. So you can start with the hybrid and then later you go with the pearl, right? So that you can go deeper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? Because you go with the hybrid so that you can play like the outside, strip away from the outside. Then when you want to transition deeper in, then you go with the pearl so that it comes back a bit stronger and gives you the entry angle.
Yeah. So that's imagine using Tropical Surge and you win a major tournament. That would be amazing.
Possible,
So far-
but most of the
Yeah.
major tournaments actually depends because if you're talking about major tournaments, right, when you go to step ladder, it's mostly fresh oil. So
Yeah.
that is why like low end balls
It's on the disadvantage side.
disadvantage unless you are talking about really short by 32 feet 35 feet patterns. That is where I
Yeah.
can see you using like a tropical switch as your first ball, even on like a fresh oil step ladder.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, I mean qualifying definitely lah. Like the tropical surge will help you throughout like the last block. If you're in the masters, like the last 2 games, 3 games, that will be key,
Yeah.
right? If everything is so burnt out, then your tropical surge will come out and then wow, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why it's good. It's I would say for one-handers or two-handers or anyone, I think Tropical Surge is one of the like a must-have kind of ball, or a really really good to have ball.
Yeah, yeah. I really like
Versatile.
the low end balls. Versatile, all that.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, if you have the ref rate, so I understand a lot of like listeners or sometimes like just normal league bowlers, they just don't have the ref rate yet.
Yes.
Then this is why they go for all those stronger balls, and then they
Stronger
like
ball.
the stronger balls because it just picks up, it just hooks. But they go to a low end ball and then it's just like it just goes straight. It doesn't give them the entry angle, which is why they don't like the low end
Yeah.
balls.
But when you get a lot better, that's where
Yep.
most people go. They step down instead of step up.
Yes, correct. The more ref rate you have, the not say just ref rate like, as long as you are like decent ref rate, even like if you are a 300 over ref rate, which is like middle of the road, like decent ref rate for one hander, or like that. I mean, some of my students new two handers, they are like only 300 over 400 because they don't know how to like let it off their hand yet. So so low end balls like that is actually really good for beginner two handers, or a one hander who's like medium ref rate and so on, because one hander will have a lot higher ball speed to come. So yeah, just good. So talking about that, I also want to talk about lane transition. So okay, difficult because I can't share my screen. So what I'm gonna do is I will put up a photo of let me Google like a picture of a lane. Then I can draw it on my side. Then we just have to like communicate through words. Let me find a bowling lane picture. So just bowling lane image.
Lane transition. So, but in simple terms, I think it's just like the shifting down of the carry down or of the oil on the lanes, I guess.
Okay, let me just find a picture. I think this is fine. Can I have a better picture?
Yeah. Because in transition, like I get quite a lot of questions that some of the bowlers or the students, they ask, what kinds of transitions are there? But like there, I think there's a couple types. So one of it is where the oil can be pushed down, or it can be moved away, or it can be absorbed by the ball.
Yeah. So I think the most common one most people will understand is that being absorbed by the ball, like it gets dry. Yeah,
that's the most common occurrence.
That's the most common one. So for example, I will on my screen here. Okay, so talking about that, the league outing, right, that I had. So that 2 weeks ago we were bowling. On our team was a trios league. So on our team was me, obviously a two-hander, and then we had a female lefty, Louisa, and then we had our male bowler, one-handed, Juzali. So Juzali started with his urethane ball. I forgot which one is it. It was a Black Widow urethane, I think.
Yes.
Yeah,
I know every single ball that he has.
Yes, and he started like playing very straight down, like 10-10. But the issue was that our opponents were 3 male two-handers. So there were 4 two-handers on the lane, which is why the transition was kind of iffy. So they started, right. I think let me draw on the lane and then I will tell you their break point and their arrow. They started landing the ball between second and third arrow. So it's like first point is maybe 13, and then their break point was about 7 to 8. So that means 13-8. Most of them started around there. One guy started even deeper, right? And the other guy, he started between third and fourth arrow. So he started like okay, lines were too thick. Let me draw.
So the 3 opponents, they were actually two-handers and one guy that is a one-hander, but he throws with 2 fingers without the thumb.
I think so, because I thought he was like, to me it's like two-hander lah. So anyone who doesn't throw with their thumb, I will call them two-hander.
I'm looking at the scores for the night, the score sheet right now.
Yeah, because I don't know their names personally. Maybe you know them. So I think they are also, Juzali knows them well. They are Juzali's teammates for other leagues.
Yeah, my ex-teammate.
Correct. So basically it's, so technically 4 two-handers because all 4 of us throw without a thumb. So we have high ref rate. So I think one of the bowlers played like 13 to 8. That means 13 at the arrows, 8 at the break point. The other bowler, I think one of the Chinese guys, he bowled between probably,
I think it's about 15, right?
No, deeper than that. He went like between third and fourth arrow. So that's like 17 to 8. Yeah, 17 to 8. So really deep. Yeah. So immediately. So immediately they went to the center of the lane because they just wanted to avoid the outside. So I knew that there was an issue there. So I played, my line was actually I still played between the second and third arrow. So my arrow zone was still about 12, but my break point was further right of them. I sent it all the way to 5 before my ball came back. Yeah, so I'm playing about 12-5, maybe 11-5 if I miss a bit to the right. But there is a bit of miss room to the right, but I didn't go gutter lah. I was consistent enough to not hit the gutter. So basically, my breakpoint was always to the right of the two-handers. So that was how I actually bowled for the whole night. So when I wanted, I just actually balled down. So I started with like a reactive solid ball, my Vortex V2, and I played that line. So when it started to have a little bit of burn, then I tried going a little bit in. And once I went in, right, my ball immediately hooked a lot because I knew that I was bowling into the transition of the opponents. Yeah, because they started from 12 to 8, right, further left than me, and then they could only move left. So they moved left, so they burn up like 15-8. They burn up they went all the way to 28, right? So anything from 15 to 20 at the arrow zone is actually out of bounds for me. If I land my ball there, my ball just overhooks. So I just had to stay right of them the whole time. So I just kept my board 5 break point and I just ball down. I keep balling down to eventually I use my Columbia 300 nitrous, which is a weak symmetrical, something like a tropical surge lah, symmetrical pearlized ball, and I just stay on like the board 5 break point and then play between second and third arrow the whole night.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting though. And then in the end, your scores was the highest among all of them.
Because I actually can get pocket from the board 5 break point. Actually, I think all two-handers ball, if you are able to send it consistently to 5, will come back on most league conditions. It's just that whether they will miss to the right and get gutter if they're not that accurate. Because unfortunately, a lot of two-handers not that consistent at our level. Then so that's why they are afraid of playing that kind of line, sending it to 5. Instead, they will prefer to send it to like 7 or 8, which is like safer. So they in order to get it to 7 and 8, if they don't have the enough ball speed, they will just have to go a lot left lor. So they have to go like 15-8, and then they have to go like 17-8, and then 20-8, and then even deeper they have to go like 23-8 or something like that.
Yeah, but so when we talk about the transition, so then your first move off the transition, how many watts do you move? 3 watts?
Normally, I would shift like 4-2. That means 4 with my feet, 2 with the arrows. Because I did some like I used the graph and I drew like lines and all that. Then I find that if I were to as a two-hander, if I only were to shift like 2-1,
3
right?
and 2? Oh, 1 and 2. Okay, 2 and 1.
Because technically the break point, let's assume the break point is 45 feet. So I'll draw it on my screen for the audience to easier see. So assume break point is 45 feet. So the arrow zone is 45 feet from the foul line. That's the break point. And the arrow zone is 15 feet from the foul line.
Yeah.
Okay. And let me use a different line. I'll draw on my screen 15 feet from the foul line.
Break points, it varies for a lot of people. So
yes, true.
But it's usually between 40 to 45 though.
Yeah, 40 to 45. So just generally speaking, assume breakpoint is 45, arrow is 15 feet from the foul line, and then our feet, right, is also another 15 feet, but the reverse from the foul line.
Yeah.
So the way I see is that since the distance from breakpoint to the arrow zone is 30 feet, and then the distance again from the arrow zone to where we stand is another 30 feet. So the ratio is exactly 1:2 law. So for every 1 ball change at the arrows, I'll have to change double with my feet. So if I were to shift 1 board at the arrow zone, then I will only need to technically shift 2 boards with my feet, provided I'm a very consistent bowler that doesn't drift. Then I will do that kind of shift. So if I do a 2-1, right, that's what I mean by 2 with my feet, 1 with the arrow, I will still intersect my line down the lane. Like if once my ball goes past the arrow zone, I will eat into my dry line. And especially since I'm not that accurate a bowler, I cannot like hit the same arrow all the time. So so it will be technically like doesn't make a difference for me to go 2-1. So I have to go 4-2 in order to avoid my earlier line. That means 4 with my feet, 4 left with my feet, 2 left with the arrows. Yeah. Because I also technically, even before I made all this calculation, right? Like in just through like trial and error, I find that this is also what works for me. Like last time I had to shift like 5-2, 5-3, something like that. So now I refine it more down, like with like with a bit more research, then I calculate the dimensions. So exactly a 4-2, if I were to be very
I
precise.
used to do a 3-2, and some days I do a 2-1, and it's relatively okay for me. So I even have league nights that like same. So I get quite a few strong higher ref bowlers in, and then I shift about 2 bots or 3 bots in the whole night.
Yep.
Yeah, but
Correct.
then like so it depends. Some days we like if they're all using, for example, just now we were talking about the supernova or like like proton physics, where the cover stock is a NEX cover stock. It's like a sponge. It sucks up the oil.
Ooh.
Then like you're gonna have to make probably a 4-2, like what you just did. The
Because
4-2 because
it's
it's
the
a
line is
lot
too dry.
drier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for bowlers with higher ball speed or like one-handers with lower ref rate,
Yeah.
if like the 3-2 I can understand. That means you change your breakpoint slightly. That means you're going like slightly to the left of your original breakpoint, which is still fine because for one-hander your ball still goes flush into the pocket.
So because like as in so from what I've gathered, the immediate first 3-2, 3-2 or 2-1 shift, that is off the first transition that you spot.
Yes.
So for example, if your ball, as if it's going normally it's going through flush a very flush pocket, then all of a suddenly you're leaving like for example, the pin number 9.
Okay.
So then your ball is getting a bit more angular, a bit too sharp
Yes, you're right.
off
Yeah.
that end. So
Yes.
then you will want to make a shift. Or
Correct.
if let's say the ball is getting quite a bit of traction and is rolling out, and then instead of going through a flush pocket, you leave pin number 8. Your ball gets deflected off towards the right side. Then
Okay.
you might have to make a small 1 bot adjustment towards the right side,
Yes.
so that you get the ball to be a little bit more continuous down to split the 8-9.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that is like the first transition that we see. Then you move that. Then if it doesn't work enough, if it's not enough, then I think 4-2 will be good.
Yeah, 4-2 generally, from me, I feel like 4-2 would avoid your previous line entirely, because the
Yeah.
2-1 will still intersect your original line, but generally, if like you're one-hander or you have high ball speed, generally it's still okay because the front part of the lane is fresh oil, right? Your ball will still skid down, and then by the time it intersects your O line, it doesn't matter that much. It actually helps when you intersect your O line. It actually helps your ball to pick up because you don't want your ball to go too far if you have high ball speed or you have a lower ref rate. So the 2-1 shift is quite it's more reasonable lah, more logical for most
Will
people.
be better for people that are a bit more consistent on the release.
Yes.
And can adjust a bit more of the ball speed.
Yep.
But like I see most two-handers, they start around standing about 20 to 25.
Yes.
But then at the end of the night, they are usually like 40th bot.
Yeah, correct. Like I mentioned, the two-handers usually have to do a 4-2 move because first is they're not as consistent, they're not as accurate as most one-handers. And then the second thing is that because they strip oil so much from their line, right? If they were to intersect their line at all by doing 2-1s, it's actually their ball hooks even more by doing a 2-1. So because they intersect into the same dry line, and then their ball actually hooks halfway down the lane, and then they go cross pocket. So they are forced to do. So they have to do 4-2 through try and error. Even if they never calculate, they will do like 5-2, 4-2, this kind of thing. So imagine like you shift once is 5-2, you shift another time is like 10-4, you shift a third time is 15-6. So by the time they keep shifting like one arrow to the next, right? So end of the night they will have to go their feet will have to land at like the gutter lah. Which is sometimes that happens to me when I bowl like fun bowls, which is like the 9-game fun bowls. That I will have to do that by the end of the day, or sometimes I will transition to like I will ball down to a lot weaker ball, and then I can still stay maybe like 17-5 or like 25 with a lot weaker ball.
Yeah. So that's the key thing about the transition. Even like so, looking at the scores that you guys had, like yesterday was very interesting. Yesterday, so same thing. Our fellow bowler Juzali was playing. But this time around, he didn't have to shift much. I got him to So he was standing at about 18. I got him to move to 25, but by the end of the night he was back at 22.
So
Then
shift back to the right. Yeah, okay.
yeah. Then the key difference was using an aileron pad to put in a bit more surface on the ball, because
For his
when
RST3?
yes, X3, and then yeah. So the interesting thing, because game one that ball was a bit, it gotten the lane shine, so it was too shiny. It's not
Oh yeah,
reacting
yeah,
well.
yeah. Actually,
Yeah,
that was I remember talking to him about the like doweling his ball 2 weeks ago
yeah,
because
mm,
he was struggling with having his ball pick up. The only dowel
yes,
ball he had that time was his Black Widow urethane,
yeah,
which was the dowel ball. Then I noticed when he went to the RST, right, the ball went a little bit too long. So I was saying that do you want to like use do you like to dowel your RST? But he said that the RST is like is comes out as a shine ball. Then I asked
yeah.
him, you got any other dowel ball? No, he said don't have. So like,
Because
okay.
RSPS3 is 4K fast.
Yeah, so she's yeah, shine.
Yeah,
Lah. Technically
yeah, it's very
it's
shiny.
almost polished lah, almost polished.
Yeah. So you will want to play the maximum length first, because the ball is already so long.
Yep.
It's going so long down the lane. So you want to play a longer length before the ball really reacts. So in the end, I 500 on the ball,
Yep.
and the scores pick up from
Yeah,
there.
I agree. I was just not comfortable telling him to like send down his RST3 up because it's like a new
Ah,
ball. I don't know what's his because I don't know him well enough to don't know.
ah,
I don't know whether it's comfortable or not. Because
yeah,
some people like when you buy a shine ball, you just don't want to send it down. Like it's like you
yeah,
buy it because you want it to stay shiny, right?
yeah,
So I was not comfortable telling him. But that was my initial feel as well. Like once I saw his ball like keep going, didn't pick up.
yeah,
My feeling was that he needed to go to a dowel ball, and just like you
yeah.
mentioned lah. So send down his RST, then it works.
So that's one way that we can beat the transition. So if you were having like, some days as the lanes get beat up, right? I actually go into a dowel ball instead. It's actually quite an interesting idea.
It's
Like, most people
yeah,
will go for tinier ball,
I
but
agree
I
with
actually
you.
went on a dowel ball.
I agree with you because actually this is what Coach Sandra mentioned to me in that 1 month I worked at his pro shop is that he
Oh,
said he gave me a quiz something like it. He say that
yeah,
okay, so normally he kind of explained like the oil and as well as the surface grid with like he asked me to imagine like the ball having like spikes on it, like a spike tire. So it's like something with rougher grid has rougher spikes. So obviously,
yes.
if the oil is very thick, right, you need rougher spikes to to poke through the oil
So,
in order
yeah,
to touch the surface underneath to get friction. So if you
yeah,
have a like a ball that is too fine, too low grade, that means the spikes are too short. It cannot poke
mm,
through the thick oil, and then it just glides. It just glides on the
yes.
oil, and then
All
it
the
just never picks up. So that's why he says surface is important. But he gave me a quiz. He said that if the oil has zero, if the lane has zero oil,
yeah.
would I use a polish ball or would I use a 180 grit rough ball?
Mm.
So I think you
I
know
would
the
go for
answer
the
lah.
dowel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the answer he I mean I think me and another one of my another of his younger coaches, Coach Leon, also mentioned that we both say shine ball because that is the typical reaction, right? Then he said no. So he said in his experience, shine ball because it is so smooth, then there's
Yeah.
no oil on the lane, right? So the smooth will land like flat on the lane surface, and then it will be a hell lot of friction. So the ball will
Yeah.
snap immediately, either roll out or it will like turn immediately. So instead,
Yeah.
you want to send down your ball to as rough as possible, like 180 degree or something like that, because the spikes will make it such that very little surface touches the ball, touches the lane surface at any one time in every rotation. So because of that, actually the rough ball, very rough grip ball, will actually go further
Yeah.
on an extremely dry lane. So which was
Yeah.
like super interesting to me, and it makes sense because he's explaining it from like a physics perspective, which like oh yeah, makes sense.
Like the snow tire, the snow, driving in the snow, you want a rough tire,
Yeah,
this and that.
with the spikes and all that to poke through the
Yeah.
snow. But it's like
Mm.
if you are like I mean, yeah, lah. Basically, yeah. The analogy is there. So it's like if you're super dry, actually you want to super sand down like a ball, and then you sit on the extremely dry
Yeah.
end. It's very
Because I think
interesting.
most of us we would have made that error, or like our new bowlers that's listening in, I think they will face the same thing. Then they even step down into, like, for example, a tropical surge. But then a tropical surge is naturally shiny,
Yes.
but not knowing, and then they try to hit the ball even harder,
Yes.
to try to ramp it up even harder, to get it down the lane way longer. But in the end, once they hit that so hard, once the ball lands on the deck, halfway through the lane, it's going to snap. Then you're going
Yes.
to see
Yes.
the
Yes.
ball Brooklyn cross pocket big time, and then
Correct. Correct. Which is where actually most of our listeners, which are like they normally bowl on league conditions, they wouldn't know because I've bowled on. I remember Changi CSC during one of their 1 year. I think it was pre-COVID. They had
uh,
this MQ and then MQ. They actually had quite a few MQ tournaments. There was one with like a bigger prize pool, but eventually the prize pool got cut down during the finals, which caused quite a bit of not say controversy lah. I made quite a few bowlers unhappy because suddenly cut down the prize pool, right? But during the finals, so during qualifying, right, it was house oil. So a lot of the league bowlers qualified. But I was aiming for that because in the finals, right, they mentioned that they will use sports oil. And it was a
yeah,
Stockholm oiling. So I think Stockholm is like 36 feet.
yeah,
So 36 feet short oil. Then I was aiming for that because I knew that because I had urethane balls. Back then, I think then I no longer had my pitch black, but I had a pitch blue. So I know that okay, I can use urethane and I can play 5-5 because I'm confident enough that I can just throw 5-5 the whole day. So then so on that particular Stockholm oiling, I tried going in. That means I move in and then I use like a weak pearlized ball and play from deep inside. And just like you mentioned, it's not playable because once my ball passed that 36 feet of oil, it snapped and it just go left. So it never even hit the head pin. So you just overhook all the way, which is what made a lot of the league bowlers struggle because a lot of league bowlers they couldn't find the pocket either because league bowlers are so used to playing deep inside.
yeah.
Either like from the normal, I think league bowler line will be like 10-8. Then when they transition in, it's maybe like 12-8, and then they go deeper in. The
Now
deepest they go is maybe 15-8, I guess.
I see so frequently now with the new balls, the league bowlers, they are starting at about 25, easily
As
25
in
or
their
27.
their feet is standing at
Their feet
25 lah.
on their feet. Yeah.
Yeah. So their
So when you're starting at
arrow
20,
arrow
yeah,
will be
easily start arrow.
maybe I don't know, 15-8 lah. So 15
Yeah.
at the arrow and then 8 at the break point, I guess.
Yeah. But then, like, for Stockholm, this pattern that you have is, if they were to play it to, like that kind of angles, it's going to be tough because especially the break point you're going to have to send it all the way until about 5 at the break point. If you
Yep.
can't get the ball out far right enough, and you don't have the confidence to send it out there, you're just going to go head on or cross pocket all the time.
Correct. So I just brought up a picture of the Stockholm oil pattern on my screen. Yeah. So you were saying that if the league bowlers were to play like 15-8, right? So let me try and draw a line.
The typical
15.
one that I'm looking nowadays, they are standing at about 27. But otherwise, if let's say 25, so then 15-10, 15-8.
Yep.
So if they were to go 15-10, the ball is definitely going to overhook. They will need to put it out to 15-5, but then 15-5, it will force them to stand way further left.
Correct. They need to have a very steep launch angle.
Yeah.
15-5, yeah. But also provided your ball can go that long, because since it's 36 feet only, right? The high
Yeah.
chance is that your ball is gonna roll right after 35 feet, and then it's never gonna reach
you,
5.
you look at the oil. So for the forward oil is only until 30th feet.
Oh,
30
let
feet of
me
forward oil.
check the pattern. Wait, how do you see forward oil? I'm looking at the flex chart.
Yes, I'm looking at that also. So the light blue, the
Forward
turquoise color, that is your forward oil.
Light blue,
Yeah, which
Light.
ends at 30th board.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay. So that is forward oil. Okay.
Yeah. So, like, looking at this, the most ideal place to keep the ball with the oil on would be definitely between the. I would recommend for bowlers to stay at like about 10th board. So that will be the maximum. It will leave you room right and left. But then again, so in order for you to play this like the 10th board area with so much oil, is you have to move further left.
So you
Because
mean
at the arrows,
hit 10 board at the arrow zone or at the break point?
you gotta. So at the arrows is about 15 board, right? Sorry. At the arrows is about 15 feet, right?
Yes, 15 feet. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
15 feet, yes.
Yes.
So at 15 feet, that is the only area that you're getting the combined oil,
Yes.
which is not a lot, but it's better than nothing. So you have to keep your ball within this 15 feet area, maximize the oil, and you can still keep it out on the forward oil, which is maximum until 30th board only. So any point of time, you can you will want to lengthen that the duration of your ball staying in this 30 feet of oil, and not sending it too far to the right immediately. So if somebody were to play, for example, 5-5 down, they are going to suffer immediately, because there is no oil after 1, 2, 3,
10 feet?
5. Yeah, about 9 feet. There's only left with the
9
reverse.
feet, yeah.
Yep. The reverse oil. So then the ball is going to start to rev up because it's dry. It's going to hit the dry deck. So then anyone that plays like 5-5 down, they're going to find the ball end up probably at pin 7. Yeah. So I reckon for you will be standing way further left, right?
Actually no I actually played like 3-3. I actually played 3-3, 5-5. Sorry, like 3-3. Straight down third board, and then if I miss a beat in, right, my ball actually still stayed. I think it's how I lay out my ball, because my pitch blue is laid out such a way that it I forgot my layout back then, but it just kind of settles. So it enters into a row early, but it just settles there. So it doesn't move.
So that one, I would say your release will be very 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I had to like forward row, correct.
Yeah, a lot of forward, then I just stay forward, and then using the characteristics of the ball, then it just hooks in pretty decently.
Yes. So I actually were relying on that. Yeah.
We had, if you were to see those bowlers with wearing the metal guard, and then they were to flick bowl on this, they turn the ball a lot more.
Yes.
Because of the guard shape, so they are unable to do the break and leave. So
correct.
Then their balls are gonna, once it hits the dry deck of that spin, it's just gonna jump.
Yes, it's gonna snap. Yeah, which is why we were super struggling.
Yeah. So understanding how you can release your ball on the 6 o'clock release, it helps a lot, especially now with all these strong bowling balls. You just need to release the ball decently down the angle. The ball will do the rest of the job for you.
Yep. We shouldn't create too much axis rotation with the ball. Instead, we actually need to stay more behind the ball, which is actually what I've been trying to teach all my especially my two-handed bowlers. Like, I want them to stay behind the ball, because like two-handed, it's because we don't have the thumb in. It is actually very easy to turn the ball on release and create a lot of axis rotation. It is actually more difficult to stay behind the ball, which is actually quite important. Like I mentioned, playing on this spot oiling.
Exactly opposite of what you said. So when I bowl my two-handed, I'm doing too much forward roll and too little of.
I think it's your habit, because you're so used to going forward with your one hand, right?
One hand, I turn quite a fair bit.
No. I mean, not as much as two-hander lah. Your one hand, like your axis rotation doesn't even exceed 45 degrees. But like a two-hander can easily go beyond 45 degrees, like 60 degrees, 90 degrees, 60 to 90 degrees axis rotation is very common.
A lot of two-handers are holding the ball this way.
Correct. Which is why when I started two-handed, I was holding it that way also.
Yeah. Then nowadays, if my students, I get them to start off this way.
Yes.
Straight up.
Correct.
The fingers straight up instead of, so that helps them to get the ball longer down the lane.
Correct.
Before, as in keep that forward row angles.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
something new, something different. But if it works, it works.
Yeah, I've been teaching my two-handers that as well. Like I've been forcing them to like do this because I teach
Yeah.
them like if they want to like get axis rotation, I will ask them to do this, but I ask them to keep their index finger pointing to the target, just like what a one-hander would do. Like I think this theory comes from one-handed bowling, having your index
And
finger
then we,
point to
for
the
one hand,
target.
no matter what, we try not to exceed to make it too big. So when you open up too big here, you'll end up cupping the wrist.
Yeah,
And when you cup the wrist like this, then you're gonna have a lot of injuries on left and right.
yeah. I mean, yeah lah. If you were to cup the ball, for I mean,
No, not cup, to cock the wrist.
yeah, you will because if you're holding like this, then yeah, then it's very bad because you're cupping that. But generally, yeah, I mean the theory is the same lah. Just open up. The more they open up here, then the more axis rotation they'll generate. But I teach them like you have to learn how to do this first, which is like close it up and then go end over
It is
end
also
six.
forward.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
forward, and then there's what they need for their spare ball because
Mm.
like I myself have went through it also like whereby we throw our spare ball and we don't if we turn so much that the spare ball never reaches pin 10. So
Yeah.
we always suffer no matter how fast your ball speed, the spare ball still hooks smart because if you have axis rotation of it. So
Yeah.
yeah, so this technique is like I feel like it's super necessary for a two-hander to
And
learn if they are like even to be decent, to even have decent scores in today's condition.
I know that's the toughest thing for everyone to master. So one thing is definitely using a spare ball. So then versus using their strike ball to make the spare of
Hmm.
like for example towards the pin 10. So there's the old school of thought, or the standard one is where you use a spare ball and then to release the same hooking release
Hmm.
to get the ball there.
Hmm.
Then nowadays, if you look at the younger PBA stars or the other national bowlers from most countries, they are using a spare ball and they're releasing it straight.
Yeah. So even they use spare ball, but they will still change their release for the spare ball
Yeah,
also.
to make it a dead straight shot
Yeah.
down. We call that like the bullet shot down. And then comes the reactive ball, their strike ball, which now even more PBA pro or the bowlers they are doing that also. Even I'm trying working on that to use the strike ball, release it really end to end 6 o'clock, lift it
Hmm.
up, and it goes straight down. So the one of the key like the school of thought was that if you can use your strike ball to spare, you can eliminate the need to bring a polyester spare ball, and it
Yes.
opens up room to bring one extra strike ball.
Yep, which is very important for like when you're traveling for overseas tournaments,
Yeah.
because I think for like the average listener who hasn't traveled, right, the I mean, as aircraft weight, right, is very expensive. Like to
Yeah.
bring, I think for let's say last time before pandemic, I traveled to like Hong Kong and then I take SQ, which is Singapore Airlines. I think maximum I can carry is like 30 kg or 35. I'm not super sure, but it's in the 30s range, not to 40. So there is only
Yeah.
like I think three or maximum four bowling balls if I were to like really carry a very little like clothes and all that lah. That means minimize my clothes, then maximize my weight on bowling balls. Maximum I can carry is four. So like, but if you're a competitive bowler, like four for a big tournament is simply not enough. You have to like at least have six. So six is actually already exceeding the weight for economy class like 35. So you have to buy extra weight and it's super expensive. So like you really want to cut down on your cost, then you want to like carry as little balls as possible. So this is why
Yeah.
like freeing up one extra space to not
Yeah.
carry a polyester ball is yeah lah. Basically it's a cost saving measure lah.
Yeah. And I actually heard about the thing about different countries and their bowling lanes, because the lane topography makes quite a big difference. So yeah, that is something that I think in most Asian countries we are not lucky enough to be able to see the lane topo.
Yeah, we don't have the technology that can scan. So far I know US has it. I don't know what other country has it.
Not much yet. So
Yeah.
like, but then there are some bowling alleys that you can really see their lanes, and with like just standing on the higher ground, you can see how bad or how new the lane is. So for I yesterday I went to Siglap, Super Bowl Siglap, to try out the brand new lanes. Wow.
Super Bowl Sigla. Oh yeah, brand new
Yeah.
one, yeah, which is
Yeah. Really interesting.
Near East Coast, right?
Near
In the
to
East Coast area, like
yeah, yeah,
Marina South East Coast.
the
I'm not sure.
upper Changi Coast Road or something like that.
Okay. I
Somewhere
mean,
around there.
I haven't been there. I just know the
Yeah.
general area. Yeah.
It's just a little bit after the Bedok Food Center. Yeah.
Oh, there. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. It was quite about 20 minutes, 25 minutes drive. But
Mm.
yeah, the lanes were because it's a brand new lane.
Yes.
Yeah. I would say brand new lanes, new machinery, everything. So it's I think it will take a while. So quite a few of my balls got scratched. But it's all those tiny little scratches. But that's okay, and that's fine because it's new lanes, it's not seasoned yet.
Yeah.
So but
Ouch.
the thing is, the lane was very brand new. So
Mm.
wow, I tell you, it is. And then I would say anyone that wants to bowl there, especially in the daytime, there's no point bringing strong balls.
Cause too snappy.
It's on both left. They only have 12 lanes.
Okay.
On the left and right 4 lanes, it's next to the a very big what do you call that, ceiling to floor to ceiling windows. So
Floor
it's
to
hot.
ceiling windows. So
Yeah.
it's transparent windows. I mean, the whole
Yeah.
place I assume is aircon, but it's
Yeah.
transparent windows, so the sunlight shines through the lanes.
Yeah. So it will hit the
Oh.
4 lanes and the last 4 lanes. So you only have
Ah.
the center lane. So I was bowling at lane number 3. So at that point of time, yeah, I realized that okay, the lanes is drying so fast. I started out with my jam
Hmm.
within about 5 to 6 shots transition because it was fresh oil. About 4 5 shots down, I saw it was transiting.
Okay. So
Yeah.
for the average viewer, for average bowler who's listening, like maybe
Mm.
they're not aware that okay, so when you have very hot, let's say sunlight or like maybe
Yeah.
the aircon isn't as strong for that particular day. So higher temperatures, right, would mean that I mean I think even oil would evaporate, right?
Yes.
Basically the oil, yeah, oil we just treat it
Yeah.
like it will evaporate. So basically the oil will evaporate faster, so your lanes actually dry up faster.
Yeah. So it hooks up so much more. And then so but I think they're still training up their staff. So initially or when they first opened up, the feedback on the lanes was that there's no oil. It's too short. And then they started to put in more oil,
Hmm.
but they block oil. So it's just a rectangular stretch up. So imagine let's say 40 feet of oil,
Okay.
but there's no tapering.
Ooh.
It is just one rectangular block.
So it's like bear pattern.
Yeah.
1:1
So
ratio.
that's like one big straight line up.
Straight
Then
line. So there's no tapering. That means like so as in there's no ratio between the center and the side.
yeah, it was quite interesting. So
Oh, so it's totally flat lah.
then like they were saying that suddenly the ball is not really hooking because there's too much oil there. Then when they played to the outside, the OB, the ball just skids down because
Ah,
when there's less oil, it will start to it will hook up. So
yeah.
then like when I went down, it was different again. It was 42 feet of
Uh-huh.
oil, but then the tapering starts like around 36 feet onwards. Then then I step onto the lane. Both left and right side 7 bots towards the gutter.
Mm.
So from 0 to 7, and then like the last 7 bots, there's totally no oil.
Okay, so you just look down lah, use your eyes and then you can see it.
No,
No.
I touched it. There was no oil at all.
Oh, you went down the side of the lane and go and touch.
Yeah. So then
Ah.
so then again, it's very interesting because it was 37 mils of oil.
So very thick
It's
in the center. 37 is very thick, right?
supposedly
Because the average leak oiling is only like 25 or something, right?
25. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then so this one, so I thought okay, 37 is going to be thick. It will be good. I took my jam. First shot, I stood at 25. I sent it out to 10. The ball, my ball ended up at pin 7.
Sin 10 at the break point?
At the break point.
Okay, so it's still overhooked like massively.
So then I was like wondering. Then that's why I moved to immediately. I made a 5 bot shift to to stand at 30.
Yep.
And then I got the ball to break at about 7 baud, about 5 to 7, somewhere around there. Every single shot was a pocket strike.
Okay.
Yeah. Then, so it's like, but the thing is, after about 5 shots, it starts to dry up.
Transition, dry up.
Yeah. So I was wondering, 37 feet. Then I spoke to the staff. Then they said, oh, yeah. So it's 37 mils of oil, but they taper it in. So it's straight up left and right, 7 bauds, no oil. It went up, and then it tapered in pretty sharp.
So you're talking about the tapering is like from the foul line onwards, lah.
Yes.
Yeah. So at the foul line, it is like
It was
a lot
left
of
and
oil.
right, 7
Left and right. Yeah, left and right, but no oil, lah. So we don't talk about the left and right. So oil here, and then it will Christmas tree.
It's not. It wasn't even a Christmas tree. It's just gradual tapering. Like it's ended like a Eiffel Tower.
Oh.
But then it closed off at the top.
Oh, so at the top is just totally no oil, lah, because it hit the. So what's the distance of the pattern? 42? Okay, so at 42, it totally close off, lah, like this.
Yeah. So that's the reverse. So that reverse was about 8 feet of oil, and like I think they are still learning how to set the as in to do the layouts, because I think that I told them, as simple as they can just, instead of trying to struggle and design their own house pattern, they could actually use, like, for example, Big Ben, 45 feet, 44 feet of oil, more than enough.
So actually I wanted to ask about the reverse also, since I'm not so familiar. I'm bringing up the Stockholm chart, right, just to like try and understand better. So what's the difference between forward and reverse oil?
Well, so you got to look at, for example, so on my left hand here, this will be the foul line.
Okay.
Okay, and then my right hand will be nearer to the bowling pins.
Okay.
Yeah, so the reverse will be going this way. The machine will be oiling backwards.
Yeah, backwards towards the foul line.
If there is a very heavy reverse oil and very little forward oil. So if we look at it this way, so then the thickness here is very big, right? So then if you were to throw a ball, isn't it going to be like swimming pool? It's going to drive it upwards. You're trying to roll a ball up the slope instead.
Yeah, it's going to more and more oil.
Yeah. So if the reverse is thicker, is a very heavy volume on reverse, then you're gonna, like, the ball will it will lose quite a bit of energy.
Yeah, it's like carry down, like, it's going into carry down like that. Just hit.
Yeah. So I've actually bowled at Singapore Poly once, and we had an event there. It's a short films, and then we were doing some filming, and then they actually removed all the oil. They stripped the lanes totally.
Okay.
Yeah. So they were looking for bowlers to help out. So I went down with 2 of my bowling friends. I brought a spinner ball. My friends brought their hook ball. So they did the first throw. They turned to me and they said, "Hey, Neoh, my ball hooked immediately at the very moment it touched the lane."
Yes.
Then I was like, "What? No, you guys don't understand how to throw the ball." Then I said, "Show me." Then, so they were using parallax.
Quite
so
a
it's
decently
quite
strong
shiny,
ball. Yeah.
relatively shiny.
Okay, shine ball.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So then just now, remember we talked about shiny ball on a totally dry lane.
Totally dry lane, yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So it proves
So
the
then
theory.
I took my spinner ball. It's quite a relatively dull ball. Same thing. So I release it straight. I spin the ball down.
Yep.
The ball spin beautifully within about the first 20 feet, and then after that 20 feet, the ball died, and then it just jumped. It backed up all the way to the gutter. I was amazed because I've never seen my spinner ball back up so much. All the way to the gutter. It backed up about 30 bauds.
Yeah. So that means you were sending it from left to right?
I was actually going to go for a 1-2 pocket straight down.
Oh, from
and then
right.
It just backed up.
That means from right to left, lah. Diagonal right to left.
I was just trying to stand on the left and then throw it straight to let it back up a bit into the 1-2 pocket.
Oh, so still left to right, lah. That means your feet was like maybe like 25 or like 30 or something.
I was standing at about 25 years.
Yeah,
so then I was just
25.
going to release it straight,
Yeah.
then let it go, and then just back up a little.
Yep.
Then it backed up all the way into the gutter, halfway down the lane.
So no, I mean no lah, I didn't back up like 30 board lah, 20-ish board lah.
Yeah, more or
Yeah,
less
cannot be
about
30
yeah.
board. You know, I was thinking
20,
like 30 board is like fifth arrow, sixth arrow like.
yeah. So I was
Fifth
like,
arrow, yeah.
I was actually very amazed. Then I used my spinner ball. I did a hook shot. The ball was in the gutter, or in the left gutter, about 30 feet down the lane.
Okay lah. Reasonable lah, but it still went longer than the parallax.
Yes.
Because it's
So
a
then
down
I
ball.
started to really release the ball very, very straight down. And then the last moment, it hooks in, but it's all flat pockets. So then after that, we took out the house ball. And then even house balls were overhooking.
Yes.
But that was very interesting because that's when there is zero oil.
Yep.
So if there is zero oil, no reverse, any ball that hits there is basically hitting the back end immediately. Even the first ball, the first speed will be about, is considered the back end really.
So you're using this as an explanation of saying that if there's no reverse oil at all, when the ball hits the back end, right, so called the area where there's no oil, it's going to have a very violent reaction, very sharp reaction. Okay.
So sharp that it's comical. It's hilarious.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. We had that. It was a good fun though. Yeah. Then, yeah. So if you were to look at, like, for example, this Stockholm oiling, the reverse is only 4.84 mils as compared to the forward, which is 22
Where
mils.
do you see the mils for forward and reverse on the chart?
That is on the flex chart itself on the top.
On the top. Oh, it says forward oil total, reverse oil total. I see. Okay.
So you have a decent amount of forward and okay amount of reverse. So this will ensure that the ball is going to hook quite a fair bit.
So 4.48 for reverse is considered normal or very low? Very low. 4.84.
It's low.
It's considered low lah. Okay.
We can try to find, for example, we always
find something like more like the Big Ben.
Yeah, so I'm gonna grab
Big Ben oiling pattern. Pulling oil pattern.
Yeah. So I've got the standard Big Ben is 44 feet and then 27 mils of oil. So with this 27 mils, right, you have 17 feet of forward and 17 mils of forward, 10 mils of reverse.
Can share the link with me because I'm having trouble finding it. Just send it to me.
So they have Big Ben 1, Big Ben 2 and stuff like that. I'm just using the standard, the original Big Ben.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Kegel Big Ben. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah. So for a layout like this, you will definitely want to keep the breakpoint to about 13 baud, 12 to 13 baud. It will be
13 baud. So let's say, okay, so 45 feet down the lane, 13 baud.
This is 44 feet of the 44 feet oiling. So if the rule of 31, so that will be 13. Then you can plus minus a little left and right. So that about 12 to 14 baud will be safe. Yeah.
12 to 14
so
baud.
I've done.
So you can play like even 10-10 is like kind of light on the oil. So you're gonna go a little bit deeper, right?
You might get the ball overhooking
because it's not traveling on enough of the so-called the
oil.
Combined oil. It's not enough on the combined oil. So as you mentioned earlier, you want to make the ball stay on the combined oil as long as possible, right?
Yes.
So that means it's like 13. Now it's actually possible if you are like a lower ref rate or higher ball speed bowler, or you might have to go a little bit deeper, like maybe 15, 13, something like that.
Yeah, so for this pattern, so I tried quite a lot of angles. One of the very safe and good line that I had was standing at 22, and then I was just playing to 13 baud. So it's a relatively straighter hook.
So if you stand at 22, that means your ball will land at around 18, 17?
22
assuming 5 bauds difference.
17, 15, about 15 baud there.
Oh, your ball lands at about 15. So as in you hit 15 at the arrows lah, because your ball land at about 17.
15 to 17 in between there.
Yeah, then
Then
your ball will roll around 15 at the
wow.
arrows and then go to 13 at the
Yeah.
breakpoint. Yeah, so around there lah. So I mentioned about like 15 at the arrows, 13 at the breakpoint lah.
15, 13. So the thing is, the idea was to keep the ball in the oil as long as possible, but then also to give me like time to move left. So not to be too far, not to start off too far left. Then from there we slowly, as it dries up, then that's where we start to shift. And instead of shifting big ones, we just do like 2 and 1, 2 and 1.
Yes, correct. I will agree. This should be good to do 2 and 1.
This is the times where you want the ball to intersect into your drive, because there's so much oil in front, and then it's pushing. So when it pushes the oil, like it pushes through all that pile of oil in the middle, then it's going to part the oil out. Then after that, when it hits the dry, then it will start to initiate the skid hook roll phase. So it became pretty good. So I'm pretty good at this oiling. And then during the games, I was doing like 240, about 240 average. It was really good. I didn't even have the body to spare.
Yeah. 240 average, you're basically like stringing like 6 baggers, 7 baggers most of the time.
It's very, very safe, very easy to play. So, for example, this could be a really good house oiling or a lick pattern. But most people don't like, so like our modern days new bowlers especially, so they like to start off immediately on the 25 or 30th board. They end up struggling because then this is where they will get the cliff. Because they start to part the oil too much, and then there's too much oil in the middle, but yet they part it out left and right. So then they end up, when they throw the ball towards, they miss right, the ball skids and it does not recover because there's still so much oil on the outside.
Okay, so that means they start a bit too deep. They still send it to 13, for example, at the break point. But because they start too deep, if they go left, I mean, they can go left. But if they go left, like you mentioned, the cliff effect is that if they miss to the right, so they intersect their O line, and then it continues to the right, but the right of it is still oil. So their ball will skid, and then totally miss the break point. That means because it skids, it goes like maybe 7 or 10 at the break point, and then it doesn't have enough like rotation or strength to come back, so you will miss the pocket. So they will find to them they will feel like the outside is OB lah, in this case. Then they cannot miss to the right.
You end up, so quite a bit of them will end up getting like a 4-8-10.
4-8-10.
So it's when like the ball goes out but doesn't recover in time.
4-8-10. Okay.
Then when they try to keep it further slightly left, then the ball just goes through the nose because there's too much oil there.
They keep it slightly left, it goes through the nose.
Because there's too much, there is a cliff. So when they miss to the right here, they hit this pile of oil, it skids out, recovers too late. Then if they miss it, they keep it to the left here, there's too much oil here, it just keeps going down, and then it drives through the nose. So they get a split. Then when they will have to try to find their way to really get the ball back into that dry zone.
But as in, when they miss left, they miss their break point also, what? So that is why it goes through the nose, right?
But then because of the length of this pattern, if you get those other patterns that's a little bit shorter, 40 feet for example, then they would be able, the ball would it would end up getting a Brooklyn instead of through the nose because it's short.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. I see. Yeah, you're right. Because it's 40 feet, then even though they miss left, it actually rolls earlier and it causes to go Brooklyn, so it's still safer than going right through the nose.
So this is a very interesting one because like myself and a bunch of other coaches, we went through the L4 lane, the lane play training, the course. So we were just sitting down there like, for 2 whole days discussing about all this, how the breakdown and everything happens. It's very, very challenging, very interesting to see what ball suits what lanes, even the colors of the ball plays a part.
The what?
So colors on the ball.
How come? Because different color more
Different
absorbent or
color
what?
has different gradient. So the
Different
like
gradient.
every single color has a different gradient. So imagine like um for example plastic,
Yep.
a simple plastic sheet versus or even let's use gravels the roads. So then you have
Mm-hmm.
granite road
Yep.
versus a mud path versus those ice roads.
Okay.
So it's different textures. So that's
Yep.
where it's like it's really different. So it's very interesting. So that's why like even for example the Wolverine,
Mm.
they had a controversy. So they had the blue Wolverine replaced with the green one,
Dark moss.
the dark moss. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Uh.
The specs are entirely exactly the same except for the 4K fast.
The 4K fast is their finishing, right?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. So they only changed that one. So but the thing is, if you look at it this way, where the entire spec of the ball is exactly the same, 4K fast and there are 15K polish is basically something that you can achieve in a pro shop. You can
Yep.
just get it stand up.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So, but what's making the ball hook differently? That's the colors. Because
Mm.
it's
So which one?
exactly the
So which
same.
color hooks more? The dark moss or the not the original blue one?
The dark moss.
Oh. Hmm.
Yeah.
So that means the color actually affects like the porosity, or is it affects like the surface grid or something?
Yeah. So I would say like balls that is red, orange, yellow hooks the
Hmm.
most. Then followed by
Oh.
green, then blue, and then like all the pink, the black.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's why you see like for
That's
example
interesting.
a pitch black,
Yeah, yeah,
it will
yeah,
definitely hook lesser.
yeah. They are pitch purple.
Yeah. And pitch purple is just crazy. Yeah. And the specs are the same.
Yeah, a pitch blue is so the pitch blue technically hooks more than a pitch black also because of its blue
Yeah.
color, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah. So we were taken aback also, but then when we understood the colors of it, and then so our coach is like so our coach Alan, he even show us, different colors, what kind of what we call it texture on in the molecular level. You realize that it's really different. Yeah. It's so interesting that we understood from there, and then we started to okay, so like a new bowler, if we want the bowler to enjoy the game and have a bigger hook
Mm-hmm.
with a new ball, okay, I push the bowler to go for a reddish yellow ball.
Mm.
Mm.
Because it's like
Yeah, it
yeah,
helps
because it
them.
hooks more.
Yeah, just by that little bit, but it helps.
But I wonder if it still applies like to today's like strong ball technology though.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
So that's why you see the gem.
oh yeah, it's actually reddish yellow. Yeah,
Yeah,
makes
and then
sense.
like even the supernova, yellow
Purple
green.
what? Is the supernova I saw is blue leh.
Supernova is yellow green.
The one that I found through the website is the greenish blue one.
And there is blue
Oh,
too.
there's
Yeah,
yellow
so
also. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah.
yeah, yellow, green, blue,
Uh-huh.
then with some tinge of black.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that black, I would say that black is a bit more to help to control the ball, to give it some control down the lane. Yeah,
Okay, okay, okay.
yeah. So it's very very amazing. Even like the original Nova,
Hmm.
um, pinkish green with the black. So that's why it's also hooking quite a bit. Then you look at like RST X3.
Pink. So mainly is the green, the green that
Yeah,
the green that makes it a little bit more hooks a bit more more friction probably.
yeah, yeah. Even like
Oh,
the band the discontinued phase 4 with that goldish yellow color. So
phase four.
yeah, phase 4, the root beer float smell, the ball that looks like
No,
like the universe.
I can't find it on the website.
Ah, okay. Never mind. I can share that to you. Yeah. So yeah, That's the ball. That's the color of the ball.
Okay.
Yeah.
But a lot of dark colors, right?
It has, but don't forget also about because it's also a pearl.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So pearl is gonna make it snap at the back, but
True.
you have a fair bit of the gold, that the gold color that is being spread around the entire ball.
So the gold we consider it yellow lah.
Yeah. Yellow, and then there is the purplish pink color. So all these are making it also, but then definitely if you can
It's more black though.
yeah, you can put like for example a super strong, for example the physics core, the atomic core, the core that is in the pure proton physics. That core, you can put it in a black colored ball, like a pitch black, for example. You will still see the ball hook a ton.
I mean,
But
yeah, because the core is strong, right?
yeah,
The black will
so
make it
then
look go longer lah.
yeah, it just, so you will see the ball go down, but it will snap, and roll. So that hook skip, the skip hook roll.
So this is why
roll.
like things like the code black and stuff like that is like more snappy. Because the
Yeah.
black actually lets it go longer. But
Yes.
if it's a strong core, then obviously it will snap lah. So when it snaps, it's like store the energy and then snap harder.
Yeah.
Oh.
The code black, the dark code, which is a ball that is amazing, but I think it's also discontinued.
That code I heard of it before, but I mean not too familiar with that ball.
It's very, very good. I'm still trying to get my hands on it. Yeah, same thing. But the thing is, it has a REX cover stock, REX pearl. So the pearl makes it long, gives it the length, but then at the same time, the REX cover stock is very clean. So it makes it even longer, and then asymmetrical, so it jumps back in.
Yeah, so it's quite snappy. What it looks like.
Yeah.
High, decently, very high differential, very high PSA. So it's gonna be a super snappy ball.
Yeah, a super high differential. So for a ball like this, I'm actually trying to get it because of the RG, which is 250, 250.
Yeah.
As compared to my Nova altered reality and all that, which is way lower.
2.4. Okay, so it's slightly higher RG. Just a slight tad bit. So yeah, it makes sense. I think this ball is really good to go left with lah. That means if you go deep, then you want to go to this ball so that it goes really long but comes back very sharply.
But then you can always set the angles, like the drilling angles, and then that will be yeah. You just have to get the pro shops to help you out to get it, to set it to go longer, to make use of the what the ball already has, the characteristics.
Yep.
And then from there, play to the advantage of the ball.
Yeah, so something like a 70 lah drill angle, 70 or more makes it go long. Then like it depends on what you want for VR angle lah. I mean your pin to PAP can be also slightly longer to make it go longer.
Yeah. So it depends on how. Yeah, you can go for the dual angle or like the simple one. People, I see quite a bit of people will be putting like 5.52.
So 5-inch pin to PAP, is it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not too familiar with the Storm system lah. So I assume the first 5 means the pin to PAP distance.
Yeah.
The second 5 is
you can look at it as about 70. So it's about 70, 75.
Okay, 70, 75 drill angle lah. Okay.
Yeah, but I rarely see bowlers in Singapore having anything more than 70. Yeah, but I myself, I have a ball that is, my first angle is at 90. It's going up, on the maximum length.
Yeah, lor. I thought if you go 90, it's not really effective. Because like, if you go too much, it doesn't matter, right?
So because the length, that gives me the length, and I use it mostly on the burn. Yeah.
Okay.
So then it gives me that maximum length to the
when
front.
you go left lah, because you need the length to, when you go left it's longer distance, so you just need the ball to go longer to reach the breakpoint.
On the burn, I use this ball and I actually move to the right.
Oh, okay. So you make it skid on like existing burn lines.
The burn, yeah. So I don't have to. So with a ball like this, I keep it in my arsenal, and it comes out after my tropical search. Yeah.
So that even if your tropical search is starting to overhook, then you will go to this ball to really make it skid. Yeah. But then if it's a shine ball, doesn't it pick up friction early on the dry? Because like
That's
the
why I
lines.
really dial down the ball. It's really on target.
Okay. So okay, then that makes sense lah. If you down the ball to make it like skid on very
Yeah,
very dry.
yeah. Then the last, so yeah, so the ball still has the enough teeth to come back.
Because
Mm.
it's
It's
what's
a
the
it's 0.
VR angle is 0.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
so actually 0 would mean that it flares very fast. Is
so the angle.
That
Oh
means
no,
when you
the
hit the
angle is
dry, it snaps very fast. I'm
yeah.
actually kind of forgot what
I
VAR angle does. But VAR
I
angle,
can't.
the higher your VAR angle, is it the slower it turns?
Okay. So the first number decides the length of the ball.
Correct. Drill
The
angle
last
decides the
number
length. Yeah.
decides the amount of hook at the back end.
Oh, so the higher the VR angle, the more snappy it is.
Yeah.
So if it's lower VR
So
angle, then it's more control, more
so
more
most people
gradual.
they are looking at, like at most pro shops, they will try to set the both angles combined to be about 90. Yeah.
Okay.
So keeping it between 90 is a safe number. It's more controllable,
Controllable,
not
yeah.
too strong and not too. So you can use it in most settings,
I see.
unless you are adaptable enough. So like for example, that the ball that I have that can play the maximum length, I can even use it on the fresh. Just that I'll be very very more far out to the right side, and then I can control my ball speed. So I can increase and decrease my ball speed when needed. So it gives me the ability to hook up.
Yeah, I can literally play 5-5 with that.
Yeah. But because of the recovery, so 5-5, at the end of the day, if you don't roll it enough,
Yeah, it won't come back.
it's still going to overhook on you like a normal ball. So it's good. It's very, very interesting ball to have. But this angle, the angle that I have, I can't remember exactly right now, but it's a secret, like it's a trade secret for number. But not many people are willing to have that because it the amount of chances the ball comes out is very low.
As in, yeah, very little use cases lah for this kind
It's
of layout. Yeah.
because most people like to go for a strong ball, play the entire lane. And then as it dries up, they start to want to hook the entire lane. So that's the norm nowadays.
True lah. They're influenced by what they see, which is also makes sense because, like you mentioned, the standard lane transition is you burn the right, and it gives you some miss room to the right. That's why you shift left. So that's the standard lane strategy.
Yeah, but now so that's why I'm really working on from the start of the game to the end, probably a maximum of about 3 to 5 bots shift. Nothing more than a 5 bot shift by the end of my game 4.
So that you stay in the same zone, then it's more consistent. It's focus on making more consistent shots.
Yeah. Because as you open up bigger and bigger, you have to angle your hands even more.
To change your hands even more.
So if there's too much changes, you might hit a good game, but then on the very next game you might hit a 130.
Because of we are not executing properly.
Yeah. So that's why. So like the last couple of days I've been working on it, and yeah, it's pretty good. Like 9 games on a pair of lanes, and I only shifted 5. Yeah, about 5 bots. 9 games, two bowlers, 5 bots, 5 bot shift. That's very good.
So complement with equipment change and all that lah, so that you can stay on the same area.
Yeah.
So this is why equipment is good. Having a lot of balls is for this purpose. Okay.
So when you understand how to release the angle, then it will be. But we'll save that for another day.
We'll save that for another time because it's dragged on for quite a while. All right, so we will end it here for tonight, and thank you guys for watching. And okay, we'll see you guys next episode. Bye.
Bye.